The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
He was the one being questioned. San Antonio Police Chief William McManus squaring off today against the attorney for an officer that McManus fired for improper use of force.
The chief defended his decision to terminate Andre Vargas during day 3 of arbitration. Dylan Collier with a front row seat to this heated testimony.
Seconds after San Antonio police officer Andre Vargas ordered an evading arrest suspect to get out of his vehicle, Vargas used his stun gun on him without warning. Chief William McManus stating the encounter in a Southside parking lot in November 2019 gave him no choice but to fire the 3-year veteran of the force.
His approach started way up here, way escalated beyond what it should have been.
Vargas's attorney, Ben Cifuentes, continually questioned the chief's memory of the 2020 internal affairs investigation, as the two rarely saw eye to eye on the facts of the case.
Stands up, right?
It's misrepresented. He jerked him up. He didn't just guide him up.
The back and forth got so contentious at one point that the arbitrator interrupted and told the two men that they were arguing.
I want you to run the video for me.
I want you to answer the question, which you
And
have.
I'm not answering it without seeing the video.
A hearing that was scheduled to end today appears far from the finish line, as Cifuentes continues to try and erode the city's discipline case line by line.
Yes?
I don't know, does it? Show it to me.
Do you think I'm lying to you?
Maybe.
For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
A San Antonio man pleading guilty to murder and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Jose Rodriguez Moreno sentenced this week for the 2021 murder of Adam Hernandez on East South Cross. He also faced charges for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for 2 shootings that same year. They were waived in the plea deal. Rodriguez has been in custody since October of 2021.
99 years in prison for a man found guilty today of killing his aunt in 2019. It took a jury just over an hour to convict Michael Phipps in the fatal shooting of Becky Ibarra. Erica Hernandez takes us inside the courtroom as that verdict was read.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Todd Phipps, guilty of the offense of murder. Count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Todd Phipps, guilty of the offense of manslaughter.
The family of Becky Ibarra breathing a sigh of relief as Judge Jefferson Moore read the verdict in the trial of Michael Phipps. On June 4, 2019, Ibarra went to her mother's home where Phipps was living at, and the two got into an argument about a money card when Phipps said that Ibarra attacked him. Phipps said he feared for his life and grabbed the gun out of his pocket when it accidentally went off. That theory won his attorney reiterated to the jury in closing arguments.
The fear that he was going to die. And he took the gun out to magically make her stop.
But State Prosecutor Bridget Clay told the jurors Phipps' story didn't add up.
There were no injuries on the defendant. He didn't have any defensive wounds showing that he fought back. He had no injuries showing that Becky attacked him. Nothing. A license to carry isn't a license to kill.
That self-defense theory is one the jury didn't buy either. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
2 San Antonio police officers recovering after an overnight crash. It happened at West Avenue and Bassey Road on the north side about 12:30. A sergeant telling us the officers in 2 separate patrol units were responding to a scene when one officer hit the other's vehicle. That collision sent the other officer's unit into a utility pole. Both of those officers taken to University Hospital. They are expected to be okay.
A north side home likely a total loss after a fire. Firefighters were called out to the 1700 block of Brandenburg Drive around 11 o'clock last night. They found the home there filled with flames. Fire crews say it looks like the fire started in the garage and then quickly spread into the house and then to a nearby home as well. Everyone did get out safely. No word on a cause yet.
The children there have been through so much. Tonight, we're getting our first look inside the newly finished Children's Bereavement Center in Uvalde. The center's been helping families since the shooting at Robb Elementary last year. Our Lee Waldman talked with kids about how the counselors there are helping them process their grief.
From that horrible day that happened a year ago and the tragedy, and that what a blessing that has come to our community with the Children's Bereavement Center.
In a small white building down the block from the plaza lined with crosses, the newly completed Children's Bereavement Center sits.
The kids take this place as their own. It's their home.
For a year, the Children's Bereavement Center of South Texas has been working out of temporary facilities in the community. Now, they have a permanent address.
It won't be as confusing for our families to be able to say, we're home. 319 North Getty, you don't have to go anyplace else.
The space, which was donated by the St. Philip's Episcopal Church next door, can fit 5 counselors at a time. They have room for play and art therapy.
The child comes into the center, they get a teddy bear and they get a quilt.
But the work being done for the kids.
They help us to understand that it's okay sometimes to cry.
I learned that it's okay to share your emotions, but it's also okay to cry.
Is consistent.
We have this little circle and we take turns on talking.
Giving them a safe place to grieve, to remember.
I miss my cousin Xavier. I miss my friend Jace, my friend Rogelio, McKenna, Jackie.
What do you want people to know about them?
They're just outgoing and kind people.
That was our Lee Waldman reporting from Uvalde. Let's take a look at traffic here in San Antonio. 410 at Fredericksburg. Just a few moments ago, the far lane there on the right side was shut down. A Hero vehicle there assisting with some sort of incident, removing all the cones. Traffic now flowing but moving slowly during the 6 o'clock commute.
New at 6, the 4th of July weekend already here for some of us. Many will be taking to the waters to have fun and keep cool this weekend. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department will be working with other local agencies to make sure boaters are being safe while out on the lakes and rivers. They're enforcing Operation Dry Water this weekend to encourage people to be mindful about drinking alcohol while on the water.
Because anytime you partake in using alcohol, your judgment lapses. And so we want to just make sure that people are sober on the water and they're mindful about the safety aspects of being on the water.
The game wardens will be enforcing all boating laws. They'll be patrolling the waters, making sure that people that go out onto the water come back safely. They want to remind people to check their safety equipment before heading out. Make sure you have life jackets for everyone on board. Make sure your boat is in good working order. Have a kill switch. Avoid alcohol while operating that boat. And make sure to have plenty of water to drink so everyone stays hydrated.
Yeah, that's important no matter what you're going to be doing over this 4th of July holiday. Little something to celebrate today. It's tiny, but hey, we didn't hit 100. Adam Caskey.
You know, small gains here and there, right? It's what it's all about, little baby steps. And we said the trend downward in temperatures would be gradual, very subtle, and you don't get abrupt changes this time of year in our neck of the woods. But this was a win, 99 degrees, the high temperature today. Still above the average of 93, but well below the record of 108 set back in 2013. In many locations, just below 100, including Hondo this afternoon. All of the hill country, Gonzales, LaGrange in the upper 90s. Del Rio, 103, and that's important because today breaks the 11-day streak of record high temperatures in Del Rio. So that's a big deal. If you ask me, 11 days in a row of record-breaking highs or even record-tying highs, not anymore. Clear sky this evening, warm and humid, southeast wind at 10 to 15, 87 by 10 o'clock, midnight 83. We're going to be back to talk about the heat high, how it's moving out, weakening, what that does to our temperatures, and an update on the tropics and what we're watching in the Pacific in a bit.
Thank you, Adam. Pieces of a meteorite that landed in Texas a little while ago, they're going to be on display at the Whitty. We'll find out when later in the show. A North Texas school district voting to put new controversial policies in place that impact transgender students. It happened in Keller, that's north of the DFW area. The school board's new policies require students to use restrooms and locker rooms based on their biological sex on their birth certificate. And district employees are not required to use pronouns that are inconsistent with a person's gender on their birth certificate. Before the vote, the board heard from a lot of people both for and against the policies. That policy passed. Just one board member abstained from the vote. The new policies are effective immediately.
Postal workers across Texas will be starting their work days earlier after a mail carrier collapsed and died delivering the mail in these dangerously high temperatures. Eugene Gates Jr. was a USPS letter carrier in Dallas for 36 years. Last Monday, he collapsed while walking door to door delivering mail. Starting next week, Texas USPS workers will move their start time to 7:30 to try to get ahead of the heat. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. I'm Stefania Jimenez, and here's what we're working on for you tonight on the Nightbeat. For the first time in decades, it's been detected in Texas. Tonight, a closer look at how local scientists are trying to stop the spread of malaria and what you need to do if you get mosquito bites. Also, 4 local restaurants racking up dozens of health code violations, so inspectors had to go back to 3 of those businesses. Our Tim Gerber shows us what was found behind their kitchen doors. We'll see you for these stories and so much more tonight on the Nightbeat.
Thanks, Stefania. Do you remember this? Reports of a loud boom and a fireball in the Rio Grande Valley back in February. Now, some people thought it was an explosion, but NASA scientists later confirmed it was meteorite activity.
Yeah, not only did they find some of those meteorites, you can see them this summer right here in San Antonio. Meteorologist Mia Montgomery gives us a sneak peek behind the hunt that made this happen.
Picture this, a 1,000-pound meteoroid entering the Earth's atmosphere miles above our heads. The majority of it burns up, but every so often shattered pieces of it survive the journey to the ground. This is exactly what happened back on February 15th near McAllen, Texas.
Fireball came in, people heard the boom.
Research was conducted and a search team went on to discover these meteorites, which are now being showcased right here in San Antonio. There are several different meteorites on display here at the Whitty Museum, including these fragments and the mesquite tree branch that they damaged as they made their way down to the Earth's surface. But how do you know that these chunks of rocky material hit the ground, especially in rural South Texas, and even begin the attempt to find them? You take a page out of a weather book, the Doppler radar.
It records solid objects and different densities that it sees as it passes through the atmosphere, and you can locate it with the XYZ coordinates of where it is and passing and where it may land on the ground.
After a probable area was pinpointed and the property owner was contacted, the search began. The first few meteorites were more easily found, but hunters say the search became more challenging thanks to the heavy brush and vegetation.
The one I found, if I had been 5 or 10 feet, left or right, I would have missed it completely.
A successful search nonetheless, and one that is bringing a little piece of space to our little piece of Earth this summer. Mia Montgomery, KSAT 12 News.
The Welcome to Earth exhibit is now open at the Whitty Museum and even showcases a 4-billion-year-old meteorite that was discovered in Morocco.
And who better to do a story on meteorites than a meteorologist?
Of course.
It all makes sense. A meteorologist, meteorite,
Adam
Mia
Caskey's
Montgomery.
face is no. It sounds good.
It does. Actually, the term meteorologist goes back to the days of Aristotle. He wrote the first book on meteorology, and this is 200 and some BC. And back then, anything in the sky or moving through the sky was considered kind of a meteor, and so then the term meteorologist came to be. The name stuck, even though the science kind of changed a little bit. Is that too much for you? Is that okay?
Never.
Never too much.
Good. I'm glad you like it. But now we just study what's in our atmosphere. But of course, we do like what's outside of our atmosphere, including astronomy. The heat high, it's leaving. It's weakening. It's moving out of town. It's not as hot today, and temperatures will continue to be trimmed back, and rain chances, they do return. We're going to get to that in a moment, but I want to show you the newest drought monitor updated today. And actually, some parts of our area, including the coastal plain, that were drought-free, not even considered dry, they actually dried out a little bit. That's where you have the bright yellow on the screen, just east of San Antonio and closer to the Gulf coastline. But what really stands out here, the Texas Hill Country. Unfortunately, extreme and exceptional drought, Fredericksburg to Kerrville, Bandera, Medina Lake Reservoir, all the way to Bulverde, Blanco, Sisterdale. You get the idea. That's where we have this bullseye in the state of the extreme and exceptional drought. And it's the only part of Texas in such a deep drought. The rest of the state has had relief, most notably recently the Panhandle. So at least some folks have been getting some relief. Unfortunately, it hasn't been our friends in the hill country. So here's the weather pattern right now. We have some rain far west Texas and even New Mexico. You know, monsoon season's starting to take over in parts of the desert Southwest. But the big heat hide's starting to slowly move eastward. Now, on the northern ring of it, that's where we had the severe weather track today and where we'll have it again tomorrow. So we're talking central U.S. This heat high continues to slowly break down, weaken, and move off to the east. That's good news for us. We already have seen a difference in temperatures as a result of that today by not even hitting 100. But also, it opens the door for the chance of a few showers and thunderstorms in the extended period. Now, don't get excited. We're not expecting anything widespread or significant, but at least a little bit of a chance every day. And even the computer models now indicating that our potential is starting to come up a little bit, where you see these areas of green and even darker green indicating chances are getting a little bit better, but it's only 20%. So a 10% chance on Monday. By Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're talking a 20% chance. So very isolated in nature and limited coverage, but better than nothing. And it's nice to have chances back in the books. As for the tropics, we look to the tropics, especially when that heat high breaks down, doors open for something to move in. So we look to the tropics for a disturbance. We have this one near Bermuda, 10% chance of development and wouldn't even head toward us. In the Pacific, sometimes we can tap into the moisture from the remnants of these Pacific systems. We have Hurricane Adrian and Tropical Storm Beatrice. These are off the southwest coast of Mexico. Now, Tropical Storm Beatrice likely to become a Cat 1 hurricane and by early next week dissipate as it heads towards Cabo and fall apart. But I do think we could get some of that higher level moisture in terms of clouds to head our way. So basically we'll get some of its moisture, but no moisture that's not going to do anything for us. 99, our current temperature, dew point is 63. Feels like 101. That's nothing for us, nothing at all. The heat index is just a few degrees warmer than the air temperatures. 98 at Randolph and Converse, 93 Canyon Lake, Bulverde 95, Hondo 99. Not as many triple digits on the map right now, and this trend is only going to continue. And notice the heat index really just a few degrees warmer than the air temperature, and I think that's going to be the same tomorrow. So here's the forecast tomorrow. 7 a.m., 77 degrees, partly cloudy. By noon, we're at 90 and very sunny. And then 99 the high temperature, feeling like it's up to 103 at 4 p.m. Del Rio tomorrow, only 101. I mean, compared to the past week, that's nothing for them. Leon Springs 96, Elmendorf 99 tomorrow. And again, we have some of those rain chances. It's not much, but it's a little bit to look forward to, and we'll keep you updated as that time nears.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
When you're 7'3.5", you're liable to make an impression.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And luckily for that, Victor Wembanyama, he made an impression with his basketball game, right? I mean, the guy can just do about anything on the court, but coming up, some of his teammates getting to see him for the very first time, and from his feet to his hands, the Spurs are impressed. Plus, Texas Tech is getting one of the very best in Bird Martin coming up.
So when I was little, when my mom first saw me, she thought I had pointy lips. So she called me her baby bird.
Okay, and it stuck, huh?
Yes, it stuck. That's how she introduced me to Coach Ray on Finest. So he just started calling me that, and that's my basketball nickname, I call it.
Well, mom knows best. Callista Bird Martin is taking her skills at Texas Tech once she's done with high school in big board sports. All eyes on him. Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs Summer League squad held practice today as they get ready for the Cali Classic, followed by the 2K24 Summer League in Las Vegas, and Victor was the center of attention. Wemby is a no-go for Cali and will join the Spurs in Las Vegas. Summer League head coach Matt Nielsen said Wembanyama will stay back and practice before joining the team in Sin City. Second-year guards Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley will lead the Summer League charge in California, and Wesley, like so many of us, thrilled the Spurs won the NBA draft lottery.
It's been happy. I mean, got the number one pick. You can't get more happy than that. I was in Vegas, actually. I was watching it. And then my brother called me, my dad called me. They was happy. They was like, "We getting Wemby, you getting Wemby." I was like, "Yeah, I'm excited."
What was it that stood out to you? It's probably his hands. I shook his hand, and yeah, it was pretty. Like, he just has long fingers. Like, but he got, that's probably what stood out to me.
Tomorrow, Victor is scheduled to talk with the media, and you know that's going to be crazy. The Spurs will open the California Classic in Sacramento on July 3rd, and then they'll play the Lakers on the 5th before heading to Vegas. She's one of the top high school basketball players in the United States. Callista Bird Martin is working hard and getting ready for her senior season at Providence Catholic School before she leaves for Lubbock and Texas Tech. Martin is a 4-star recruit and ranked 91st in the class of 2024 Hoop Girls Recruiting Rankings ESPNW Top 100. Tech loves her versatility because she can play 1 through 4, and Martin is thrilled to give the Red Raiders her verbal commitment.
So when I went on my official, I love the coaches and the girls, but a big thing for me is my academics. So I wanted to make sure I could major in molecular biology. Oh, wow. And yeah, they made sure to set up a meeting with the head of the department. He showed me around for an hour. I got to hold a snake. For the first time, so that was really cool. But just his enthusiasm really did it for me. And then, of course, like I said, the girls and coaches. And then I'm very strong in my faith. So I went home, I prayed about it, and God really let me know that was the right decision for me.
Very cool. What does this mean to your parents and your family?
So my parents are super excited that I chose a home, but I think they're even more excited that my home is only 6 hours away, and they can come see a lot more of my games.
All right. Tell me about Red Raiders head coach, Coach Gerlich. What do you like about her and her staff?
Yes, so I love about Coach Gerlich. She's like a strict mother, is what I would call her. So on the court, I know she's going to get out of me what she needs to get out of me, and I know that she's going to expect the best out of me. But off the court, I know that I can go to her, I can build that relationship with her and talk to her about anything.
So you're taking summer school classes. You told me you want to graduate early. Why are you doing that?
Yes, so I know that as a player I need to get stronger. So getting there to Tech early, being able to do practices, workouts, I'll have that semester to, get stronger and prepare for that freshman season.
Martin will graduate from Providence in December and start college in January 2024. She plans the red shirt, so she will travel with the team, but she won't play in any games.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Very much so.
It's a great nickname for a basketball player.
I know, Bird. Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I bet her mom is thinking she's leaving the nest.
Uh-huh.
All right, up next, our KSAT Q&A with new San Antonio City Councilman Mark White. We'll be right back.
Stay with us.
We are continuing our conversations with the newest faces on the San Antonio City Council, and today in our KSAT Q&A, we welcome that representative who is now leading District 10, Mark White. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Congrats on your election now. You were just talking a little bit earlier how not being in a runoff gave you a little bit of a head start. So how are you feeling things out in this role so far?
Yeah, well, blessed to be able to do it and win on May 6th. So thank you to the voters of District 10 for getting me there without that extra 30-day runoff. I feel great. The wind is at our back. I've had an opportunity to really try to get to know all the other folks on council, start building those relationships so that we can hit the ground running and really get things done for the city.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest priority is? What do you think resonated with voters on election night that got you where you are right now?
Yeah, I think voters saw somebody that was genuine, saw somebody that really connected and believes in the things that they do. District 10 is a hard-working district. They believe in really the core values of our city. This is a city of great hard-working people. We have great culture here in San Antonio, and I think they looked at me as somebody who could advocate for the things that they want, which is public safety, economic development, really things that affect their day-to-day lives.
You have talked about how crime, concerns about crime is something that you've continued to hear from people in District 10. We have seen a wave of gun violence in San Antonio recently. What are your hopes in terms of something the city can do to try to tackle that problem?
Well, we get into budget season coming up right when we get back from the break in August. And I talked about it a lot on the campaign, but we've got to have more officers on the street. So one of my priorities is making sure we get money in this budget for as many new officers on the street as we can. It was by far the #1 issue I heard about on the campaign. Every day out there block walking, it seemed like I would hear a different story about a theft or some other crime. So we have to have well-trained officers. We got to have more of them out there. protecting the citizens, because there's nothing more important to our residents than feeling safe in their homes.
When you said well-trained, it's something that we've asked each of the new council members so far, is their reaction to the shooting that occurred early in the morning on Friday. 46-year-old woman, Melissa Perez, inside her apartment. The chief calling for murder charges, 3 officers facing murder charges. Your reaction to what happened and what you would like to see change because of that?
Yeah, tragic, of course, and so condolences go out to Ms. Perez's family, certainly. Look, 99% of our officers do a great job. You know, they put their lives on the line every single day to protect our residents. But every now and again, we have unfortunate incidents like this, and I don't want to comment on the investigation and where any of that's going to go, but we need to have a well-trained police force. And here we had a situation with a lady that unfortunately I think was suffering from some mental health issues. We have to make sure our police are trained to deal with individuals that do have some of those same issues, so that when they encounter them, we can have better outcomes than what we had this past week. So it's a tragic situation. Of course, I'm sorry that it happened, and I hope that we can learn from it so that moving forward, when our officers encounter another situation like this, we don't have such a tragic result.
Local police officers at the county level as well, they have made strides to include mental health resources, creating teams that can go out along with officers. Is there something that you feel like the city still needs to do to sort of close the gap in mental health resources?
I think just continue the training, you know, and I've had an opportunity to talk with Chief McManus about this exact issue. I think just continuing the training, making sure that all the officers understand that when you encounter a situation where you have an individual that may have these issues, you have to treat it a little bit differently than maybe a different situation. So continue the training, make sure that everybody's getting it, make sure that the resources are there to provide answers to questions that officers may have. If we keep doing that, again, I think we're going to be okay. And you know, 99% of the officers, again, really do a great job handling these situations.
You take over for Clayton Perry. You know, he got in some legal trouble. He had some issues. It seemed to divide the district, those that supported him and those that didn't support him. How do you overcome that? Or do you think that that's one of the things that people rallied around with you?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I don't know that it divided the district. Okay. Clayton, I think, by and large, did a great job for District 10.
Yes.
He's a good person. It's very unfortunate what happened to him. I think the district appreciated Clayton's work, and they look to me as somebody that's going to continue a lot of the things that he did. You might have seen the other week, we built on that homestead exemption, right? Clayton was instrumental in getting that 10%. Mm-hmm. We've now gone further and maximized it to 20%. So I think the voters in District 10 look at me as somebody that's going to continue those pro-business, conservative policies that put the neighborhoods first, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
You have a couple former councilmen there in Mike Gallagher and Clayton Perry. Have you talked to both of them, and do you plan on leaning on them as you begin your tenure?
Yeah, we're very lucky in District 10 that the former councilmen are still very involved in the district. So I'd be crazy not to lean on them for advice moving forward. You know, I'm one of those guys that I know what I know what I don't know. And so if I can gain some wisdom from them and learn from their experiences in the past, I'm going to do it.
You are a self-proclaimed conservative voice on the council. I want to ask you about this preemption bill, which has created a lot of consternation among the city council. A lot of people, a lot of council members, they don't support it. This is something that at the state level, lawmakers pass that basically would say local ordinances cannot be created that would cover something already addressed at the state level. You support that, though.
Yeah, well, for the life of me, I cannot figure out why there's so much overreaction going on from some of my council colleagues on this issue. Look, this is a bill designed to help businesses, right? Imagine a business trying to do, a company trying to do business in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, and all these different jurisdictions have all these different sets of rules. that's going to be cumbersome and expensive for that business to figure out how they're going to work in these different areas, right? This bill is designed to make it easier and less expensive for companies to do business in the state of Texas. That's a good thing. And what it's going to do for us on City Council is it's going to allow us to focus on the core issues of this city that the people elected us to address, right? Homelessness, crime, economic development. That's what we got to be focused on. And so this bill isn't going to do anything to stop us from doing our job. It's a good bill. And I think everybody's going to see after it goes into effect on September 1st, we're going to be all right.
All right. I like to end on a light note. I know that you are already feeling blessed to win the election. And timing is everything. I mean, you got to see Victor Wembanyama, at the Arneson River Theater with your kids. I mean, that doesn't happen unless you're elected.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple perks to this job, and it was great to get to be there when Wemby got to San Antonio.
You just needed the wide angle, right, for you, for the kids in Wembanyama?
I took a picture of my kids next to him, and all I saw was the tops of their heads because they were about at his hip. But no, it was fun. My kids are enjoying it, and I'm excited to get to work for San Antonio.
Mark White, newly elected in District 10, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mark. We'll be right back.